happy for you to be on this Keep on Rocking podcast.
Yeah, me too, man. Thanks for
And
having me on. I
yes,
love like what you're doing with this.
oh my God, I just remember when I saw you perform first time at what was that place that closed down in Austin?
Oh, Black Star
Black
Co-op.
Star, right. And I
Uh,
was like, really? This guy has a guitar in his hand and he's jumping like a hip hop guy. Now, this is the first, and then I was extremely impressed that all your bases were covered, your songwriting, your singing, your composition, your music, your melody, your groove, and which is rare these days because I am extremely critical to what I listen and what I admire, and
yeah,
I
same.
and I and I and I follow stuff from everywhere to the point that my favorite genre of instrumental music is fading away, and the solos are have disappeared from rock songs, and but I have very silver lining or a fine thread on which I tiptoe. So you being so young, your music and your musicality is so mature. Tell me the journey. Tell me the name, the secret behind. So is Jeb Happy your stage name? Complete.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Jeb Happy.
Okay. So tell me
Uh,
about Happy and tell me about. Yeah, let's start from Happy first.
like how I got that name.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. It's funny. I grew up in like suburban Ohio, and I first went to this really upper middle class white middle school, and I was always I was one of the outcast kids, and I got bullied a lot and made fun of, and like outcast, alienated from a lot of them, and
Ohio,
so,
the place where the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's funny. I lived in the town where the Football Hall of Fame is,
Okay.
and that's like the only reason to go there.
All right. Okay.
But it's the middle of nowhere, basically, pretty much.
Okay.
Uh, so I switched schools in the middle of seventh grade, and it was to a much like lower middle class, much more diverse school, and I was like, oh my god, like this is different immediately, and everyone in my grade was coming up and introducing themselves to me and saying hi, what's your name, so it was really cool. But the last period of my first day, I got sat next to the most like popular girl in our grade, and the first thing she says to me, she looks at me and she says, "Your new name is Mr. Jeb Happy," and I was like, "Okay, whatever." And I am not exaggerating. The next day, every single kid was calling me Jeb. Every kid in our grade. So
Okay.
I was like, "Oh wow, did you send out an email or something?"
Okay.
Like, so it's been my like alter ego persona kind of since
Right.
like seventh
And
grade,
so,
pretty much.
why were you picked on in your previous school?
Uh, I was always like the quiet kind of weird kid. I was
Oh,
kind of chubby. I had long hair.
right.
I was like nerdy. I loved
Okay.
like video games
Okay.
and movies, and I got really into music around that time as well. So like, I was just it was all these preppy, pretty rich white kids, and
Uh huh.
I didn't fit into that, and
Okay.
you know, uh, but yeah, so uh, yeah.
So I think the rich white kids would be a little bit watered down and dumbed down, no, as compared to lower middle class.
Yeah, not in Ohio.
Not in
They're
Ohio.
just built different, I guess.
Yes, it is. It is. It is quite because I've been to Cleveland. I've been to Columbus,
Yeah.
and yes, it was quite unique because me being a brown guy, when we were having breakfast in the hotel, and it was a different energy.
Yeah, I absolutely Ohio for sure, man. Like there was one black man who lived in our neighborhood and everybody
Wow.
was like, he stood out.
Right, right, right. So, and I have never felt that anywhere in America, and never, I mean, anywhere in the world as well. I mean, it was nothing of, aggressive,
Mm.
but it was like, I felt a little bit out of place, me and my
Yeah.
family, and but again, home of R&R, so I was expecting, all the receptivity in the world, because it had everything from Beatles till, Nirvana. And but I also listened to a lot of specials from Dave Chappelle. He's also probably Ohioan, yeah, from Ohio.
Was it?
Is he from
Oh
Ohio?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
It is.
So
I forgot.
yeah, so I understand the different subtle aspects of living in Ohio. Okay, so so you adopted your name from there, Jeb Happy, and she didn't tell you
Yeah.
why she called you Happy or why she called you Jeb.
No, I don't even think she would remember
Wow.
her doing that.
She would be a creative director in some advertising agency, for
Yeah, right.
giving
Yeah,
names
I'm thinking
to.
of like, oh, do I need to pay her royalties or something?
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so tell me about your musical, how you got into music and what are your early influences, and because
Yeah,
because when you said chubby, that I cannot associate that, because your performance is extremely energetic and electric
yeah,
on
really
stage,
nuts.
and your high kicks are nothing like chubby, and long hair I can associate, and being in Austin, weird is a badge of honor. So all things worked out in Austin. But what I wanted to say is that your music shows your darker side, your depth, and your intensity, because with the overall facade, with the overall persona, your, like I said, the basic requirements of a pleasant entertainment and musical experience are all there. So tell me how it initiated.
Yeah, thanks for noticing that. Like, a big thing about my music is I always tell people it's like I get to say what I don't usually get to say. And like I really like the irony that it's like Jeb Happy, the man who's never sad. But shout out Hunter Stacks. But I'm all my music is pretty sad for the most part. So it's like a huge thing that I've come to really make a part of my performance, especially, is just like not in a meta way, but like in a very like it's like the performance is the performance. So like I love like the tragedy and comedy masks. How like which one are you wearing today, and like who we are in public versus who we are at home. And I like that the stage is a way that I can bring who I am at home into the who I am in public. And like trying, who are you really? So identity is a huge aspect. But I mean, music wise, I grew up in a household where my parents had parties and they would blast Dave Matthews Band
Oh,
for hours all night. Yeah. So that was a very early influence on me.
a good
Uh,
influence. Yeah,
yeah, you
yeah.
see it?
I love Dave Matthews. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
In fact,
same.
they're coming here on June 15th, and I was thinking
Oh,
about
hell yeah.
going. Yeah, just like 10 miles from me. Yeah.
Oh, wait, what? What was that?
They're coming performing here and at
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Jones Beach Theater on June 15th. So I'm thinking
Gotcha.
about going, because I've never seen them live, and they're one of my inspirations. But the problem with these
Oh,
days
yeah.
is that when you see it's a venue, and you have to look at the screen, then look at the screen
Yeah,
at home,
yeah.
and being
Yeah, man.
being a musician, your inspirations and your attachment is on a different level. Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I
yeah.
mean, yeah, that's one of the greatest live bands ever, man.
Yes,
So
yes.
you're gonna love it.
Yep,
It's so much fun
yep,
every time
yep.
too, and they're always changing up their set list. That's also really influential to me.
That's
He's
right.
just having fun up there.
Yeah, yeah.
His ability to like he's so underappreciated for his technical
That's
prowess.
right.
The stuff he plays on guitar and sings at the same time is
Hmm.
so difficult to do,
That's right. Yeah.
and so that really inspires me. But the big band aspect, like all of these different instruments coming together to make like one song and it sounds not like a mess. That's a huge influence to me. I really love like big sounding music with a lot of instrumental stuff going on, and some minimal stuff. But I mean, like after them, I got really into Fallout Boy actually back in like sixth grade, and that was the first band that I was really obsessed with. I got all their CDs and I listened to them literally over and over and over again. And I would sing in the car, and then I got really into Rush,
Mm-hmm.
and which got me into. I started playing Rock Band,
Wow.
Guitar Hero, and Rock Band got me into playing drums. My
Mm-hmm.
parents got me a drum set. I got really into Rush, so I basically learned how to play drums from Neil Peart. But he
Right.
also taught me how to write lyrics and think about like depth,
Right.
to music.
Absolutely.
Because the first song that I got really into by Rush was "The Trees,"
Mm-hmm.
because it was on Rock Band too,
Right. Right.
and that song like opened my eyes to social issues and stuff,
Right.
and like
Right.
oppression and
Right.
prejudice,
Uh-huh.
and I got really into the weird stuff. I discovered Primus,
Okay.
who similar to Rush but a little weirder, and
Mm-hmm.
that got me into the weirder stuff. And then I discovered Smashing Pumpkins,
Mm-hmm.
and that opened my world. Holy, that was basically the defining moment in my life where I was like, I'm going to be a musician, because I
Okay.
started to sing, I
Mm-hmm.
started to play guitar. I would come home every day after school during high school, and I would play along to Siamese Dream,
Mm-hmm.
the whole album on guitar. The
Mm-hmm.
first song I ever learned in full on guitar was Cherub Rock,
Mm-hmm.
which was like a defining moment in my life. Melancholy taught me about eclecticism in music. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, every song is so different. I've never heard anything like this,
Right.
and that still inspires me to this day. Billy Corgan's one of my heroes, but
Mm-hmm.
I got really into Radiohead then during
Mm-hmm.
freshman year of high school, and that got me down this rabbit hole of you know, best of lists, because Kid A and OK Computer are always really highly acclaimed. So I started listening to all these different artists from then on, and yeah. So, but like Radiohead then taught me interesting songwriting patterns and chords and progressions and like rhythms and stuff. Rush did as well, but
Yeah.
this is when I was more like actually playing along with the music. And
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, high school I was just listening to albums all the time and playing along with them on guitar, and then I started writing my own stuff. And the first album I wrote in full, I've actually scrapped entirely,
Mm-hmm.
but it was like a great like learning lesson.
Mm-hmm.
And then my second album, which is called Self Portrait, which is going to come out at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still very proud of that one, but
Mm-hmm.
that is like the first song I ever performed in front of people.
Okay.
It was called Time After All, and I played that at my variety show in high school, and I realized, holy shit, performing is my favorite thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
But it was the next year, junior year of high school, I got a band together, and we performed a cover of the Kanye West song
Mm-hmm.
Guilt Trip
Mm-hmm.
off of Yeezus.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just me singing, like rapping technically.
Mm-hmm.
But I was basically just naturally jumped into like doing moves and performance stuff on stage. And I was like, oh shit, I'm kind of good at this.
Mm-hmm.
And people were like, yeah, you're pretty good at this. So I was like, okay, cool. So that kind of just has stuck with me ever since. But um, yeah, so I've just been kind of developing that more and more over the years. I had like a really bad eating disorder
Mm-hmm.
during senior year of high school, and then afterwards for a few years. So like it kind of took over my life, and I stopped making music. But when I came back, I was like full of this creative energy, and
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't until I came here to Austin 5 years ago, when I really felt like, oh, this is where I belong as an artist,
Yes.
because I would meet like a musician every day when I first moved here.
Yeah.
And they were all like, oh, maybe we should do something. I'll follow you. And
Yeah.
I had never seen that before.
Right.
Chicago can be a little more like you're in your bubble,
Yeah.
stay out of mine,
Yeah.
and I could be that way too. So
Mm-hmm.
like being here really just fundamentally changed me, and it was so much more inviting and welcome, and I just fit in more. And
Mm-hmm.
so when I started going to open mics and met like you
Mm-hmm.
and De La Paz
Mm-hmm.
and my buddies Devon LaTroy and
Mm-hmm.
Hashir Wallace and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just so many people. It's just become like it feels like I'm actually part of a community now,
Right.
So it's just this growth, and it took a while, but I'm finally there, and it just feels great. So sorry,
Right.
that was like the history. That was the Jib
No,
Happy
that's
history.
great.
Yeah.
That's great. So what was your experience when you first saw me?
What?
When you first saw me performing, what was your experience? What was your reaction or response?
Surprised for sure. I remember when you first started. What was the song? Was it Queen? It was either that or Michael Jackson. You started belting them out. You did like a medley, and I was like, "Oh shit! Wait, this is awesome!" Because usually, you see a dude with a guitar go up there, and it's like, "Okay, yeah, whatever." But then, like, you had like this like actual passion in your voice.
Mm-hmm.
Most people that I've seen, like acoustic performers, they just go because they want to do their thing,
Right.
whether or not they're trying to go for a career or not. But like
Mm-hmm.
seeing you was like, it was so much more fun. You had the whole place, singing along, and like
Right,
you got, I don't know how you did it. You got everybody's attention though. It was
right,
just like, again, that passion just came out. We could feel it.
right,
Like you love
right,
doing this, you know?
right, right. Thank you, thank you. I mean, I asked you because we belong to different generations,
Yeah.
and I had before I saw you performing because for me you are a complete package, and which is a rarity because what happens is that often songwriting is eclipsed by in the past commercial pressures, and then
Yeah.
now it is about what people want to listen. But when it comes to production ideas, your production ideas are amazing. So
Thanks.
yeah, so when I heard you, I had no respect for your generation, but when I heard you, I saw a promise. I saw, because everything is so instant, everything is so loop based, and
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
if somebody plays a guitar, they keep on showing off the guitar, and
Mm,
if
yeah.
somebody is
Yeah.
into gadgets and musical instruments, then they are just flashing those instruments. But over in your performance, and I saw you several times, and it was not like one time thing, and different songs, and your energy and how you compose, and especially the melodies, and how they instantly provoke a reaction. It was amazing. And then of course your, like I said before, your performance, your the physical aspect, your dance and your moves are an essential aspect of your persona. And I mean, I think your music is complete without that as well, but it adds another, layer of augmented, element to it. So, especially when it comes to, because it shows that you have spent a lot of time, a lot of flying hours, so to say, into your craft, and it's not an accident, it's not a one hit wonder. It's not like a teenage thing. But tell me, what is the source of that cohesive force in it?
Um, like how like I bring it all as a package instead of just focusing on one thing. Is that what you
No,
mean?
no. What I'm trying to say is that, for example, it's a great. I say it's a talent, or I don't know how to put it, but that you come up with a melody that people want to listen. That's a huge asset, and that's a
Absolutely.
huge blessing, and it's a huge technique if you are doing it consciously. So tell me, how do you come up with that?
Well, first off, thanks for saying all that. It's like it means a lot.
Yeah,
Like when I get positive feedback, because
yeah.
I go up there and it's like either this is gonna be really cool or really cringe. So
Yes,
there's no
yes.
real middle
That's
ground.
the
So
that's
when,
why people like me and Delapaz and everyone in Austin, they admire you because you do out of the box stuff, and which is risky, and the
yeah,
element
risky,
of
yeah,
risk in life is enormous, and that's why people come out and see.
100%. Yeah. So thank you for saying that. The positive feedback is just it actually helps so
Yeah,
much
yeah,
to reserve the doubt or
yeah.
whatever.
No,
But
it's not a feedback. It's an admiration because yeah, because like I said, I had lost faith in and because I'm the guy from 60s and 70s and 80s
yeah,
rock and 90s rock and new metal little bit, but down 2000s, late 2000s, there was just Kings of Leon, which I was attracted to much later, and the Darkness. I don't know if you have heard the band The
uh,
Darkness. Yeah.
yeah,
But that was only the first two albums, and then as he went too deep in cocaine, his music, declined.
yeah.
So yeah, so that I feel that genius level of element where you can forecast, you can come up with melodies and compositions
Well,
that
so
connect
yeah, like
connect
it's
with
funny
people.
you
Yeah,
say like I'm a kid of that era as well, like the '60s and '70s and
okay,
'90s. Like
okay.
I grew up with a lot of different stuff, but then I got
Like you
myself
mentioned
into
Rush, for example. Rush.
yeah, exactly, yeah,
Yeah,
Rush. I love the Beatles.
and DMB as well, Dave Matthews as
Yeah,
well. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Like so, I was lucky, I grew up with classic rock
Right.
radio,
Because of your
which
parents.
yeah,
Yes. That's
we
great.
would
Yeah.
play
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then like there was like the new rock station, so I heard like I got really into Shine Down when I was young,
Uh huh.
which I still love that album.
Uh huh.
Sound of
Uh huh.
Madness, that
Uh huh.
album's awesome. That's just hit after hit, man.
Collective soul, huh?
I
Yeah.
don't care
Yeah.
what anyone
Yeah.
says,
Yeah.
but yeah. So but then like I got myself really into like I started doing a project a couple years ago in 2021 where I listened to albums from 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2021, I was listening to stuff only from 2011, 2001, 91, 81, 71, and so on.
Okay.
And now, like, fast forward to this year, now I'm doing the fives.
Right.
And then so I listen to an album every day.
Okay.
So a new, different album I've never heard every single day
Wow.
based on like so today I listened to Brian Eno's Discrete Music, an
Wow.
ambient album he did back in 1975, which I'd never
Okay.
heard before, and it was
Okay.
amazing,
Okay.
beautiful, sublime. But so that really I study genre, and that helps me study the history of music, and it
Wow.
helps me find out culture. And but anyways, going back to melodies and writing, like having all those influences, I'll just be like, what does this need here? What can I do to make it, like a good hook or a good verse? And I'll fit it into like what genre is this, and I'll think about all these influences I have, like a lot of songs I've written actually with Joni Mitchell in mind, where I'm like she does really cool dynamic stuff with her vocals where it's just you don't know where it's going to go next. And so one of my favorite songs that I've written is called Punk. I didn't know what to do for the chorus, so I was just like I was listening to Joni Mitchell's Blue a lot, and I literally just asked myself, what would Joni Mitchell do? And I
Mm.
don't think it sounds like Joni Mitchell. It's
Right.
still me,
Of
but
course.
it's like
Yeah.
it's gonna go. I wanted it to go like da 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 da
Right.
da, like something weird like that.
Right.
That's
Right.
it's surprising and it's memorable,
Right.
and
Right.
that's what she does really well.
Yeah.
So stuff like that will
Yeah.
just happen where I'm like, that influences me. I love '90s hip hop a
Right.
lot.
Right.
Pete Rock
Right.
is one of my greatest influences. Diamond D.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then there's like 2000s hip hop as well, like the Streets. I'm wearing a
Mm-hmm.
shirt. Mike Skinner is a huge influence. He made this album he made in GarageBand on a
Mm-hmm.
computer in 2002,
Wow.
completely on his own,
Yeah.
and he filled up stadiums. Like he
Right.
is incredible. He
Right.
changed
Right.
music in
Right.
UK, but
Right.
so stuff like that
Mm-hmm.
is very inspiring to me.
Right.
And yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing because I thought that this art of this kind of songwriting, which is instant, it
Hmm.
died with Michael Jackson and Quincy Jones. Because
Absolutely.
they used to come up while they were fighting all the time. They used to come up with some such gems, and I thought that it was nearly impossible to do it now because even Michael Jackson could not replicate it after the Black or White album, the Dangerous album.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so he also lost the hang of it, and then yeah, then of course the internet came, and then the terms of endearment in terms of fan following totally and commercialism totally changed as well. But when I listened to your stuff, I really saw a promise, that and like for example the names that you are telling me, uh, I knew that that there is something to your stuff because you were kind of homeschooled into masters in music, because the way chronologically you have studied all these eras, it's kind of that's what they teach you in Berkeley, in MIT, and
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a,
Yeah, I mean, I
see that?
went, I go there, go Boston a lot, and sometimes go there and see various musicians performing, and there are some performances going on based on their own classes or whatever concepts they are learning, or different assignments. So, but they can never do stuff the way you are doing it, because you are doing it with what fancies you, and that's the sign of a you know I mean, that's the essence of a good producer, basically, because if you are jumping into various genres and amalgamating them while maintaining the connection, because now music, as you know, has become very automatic. very machine based in the box, and the human element is missing out of it, in a way that now that, for example, AI has taken over. You can just throw in any song and it will throw out a different song with with a different context of lyrics. But what you're talking about is feel, and the feel is in terms of, for example, what you have is a genetic memory from your parents that's transferred to you.
Yeah.
And growing up, you heard all that music subconsciously
Hmm.
or unconsciously as well, when you did not even have your senses. But since you were always listening to good music, for example, Lenny Kravitz's dad was a jazz musician. Prince's dad was a jazz musician, and all Michael Jackson's dad was a jazz musician. So their upbringing was, music was always a part of their upbringing. For example, Dave Matthews, when he was growing in South Africa, he had his own eclectic style, which you can see in his, music. And then again, of course, the elements of hip hop and the way he has fused jazz and funk with a jam feel to it is what he has cultivated over the course of time. But it's amazing that you have religiously, studied all these eras, and found out, kind of did a research on, what kind of elements that you can draw from them, that can relate with your style, with your the way you approach music, and then how you access your own creativity. So you moved to Austin with your family, or just for music, or
Well, my mom and stepdad were living in Georgetown
okay,
for a few years
okay,
actually,
okay.
and they invited me to come here because they said it's a big music town and
Oh,
there's a great film school here.
great.
You'll be happy here.
Okay.
And it was COVID, and I was losing my mind
Uh huh.
for many
Uh
reasons.
huh.
I was going down a horrible spiral,
Uh huh.
and I was becoming somebody I was very not happy with. But
Mhm.
so I was like, all right, I need to run away
Mhm.
and start over. And I made it, my mission to like, I'm going to work towards something because I hadn't been for so long,
Mhm.
and I'm going to be better.
Mhm.
And so I started producing music in my bedroom. And then I started going to school. I go to ACC, Austin Community College. I study film production there.
Uh huh.
Um, I've since gotten a role as a PA on like a docu series. I got to
Mhm.
work with Richard Linklater, which was
Yes.
cool. So it's
Yes.
like that's why I came here, and I'm
Okay.
finally. It took me a little while.
Mhm.
I got a little distracted. I got a little too comfortable, I should say, not
Right.
distracted, but because I fell in love with somebody, and
Right.
it just kind of became my whole world.
Mhm.
But then when we split apart,
Mhm.
it made me realize, all right, now it's time for me to figure out where I'm going, what I'm doing,
Mhm.
and so it took a while, but it's been such an amazing process. Like
Yeah.
getting to be part of these communities, learning production. I've been doing production for like 4 years now, and I'm finally happy with how stuff sounds. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
Uh, that took a,
Yeah.
that definitely took a while, but I'm still learning every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean, for me as well, every heartbreak is a spiritual retreat,
yeah.
into live music. And I've been to all over the world for similar reasons. I've traveled the
Mm.
whole world for this, but there's no place like Austin, because the reception, the way you are welcomed, the way you are appreciated. I mean, I was offered this opportunity to be for ham membership as well.
Oh, cool. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I've never felt that kind of love, or appreciation, so to say. And which is very unique. And of course, I don't know what's going on with this thing that now. I mean, I've studied from New York Film Academy as well,
Oh,
and
cool.
you told me about your film. So tell me a little bit about, because I don't know what's happening. Meet people that either into music or either into comedy, and they
Right.
are
Yeah.
into film. So tell me a little bit about your film thing.
Um, well, that was what I always wanted to do since I was a kid.
Uh-huh.
Is make movies. I grew
Okay.
up. When I was like 4 or 5. My
Mm-hmm.
parents showed me Jurassic Park,
Uh-huh.
and it changed. It
Okay.
was very formative for me. And
Right.
at one point, we got a video camera.
Uh-huh.
I think we borrowed it from like my uncle or something, and
Uh-huh.
I remade all of Jurassic Park 3 like in my backyard.
Okay.
My
Wow, that's a lot
dad's
of
house.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Well, it wasn't the whole thing, but it was a lot of it. And like it's funny. I went back and watched it last
yeah,
year,
yeah.
the footage, and I'm like, this is so creative. Like,
Yes,
fucking 4 years old.
sure.
Uh, but yeah. So like, it's always been in me to like, I really want to direct and stuff. But uh, I love the technical aspects. I love film as like a way of visual storytelling. It's very ingrained with music as well. I mean, they're very similar mediums in many ways. But recently, it's funny when I started doing performance as well. People started referring to me as an actor.
Okay.
One person particular has it stuck with me. She like went to acting school,
Uh huh.
and she's like, that's what she does. She's an actor. Like
Right.
she's made a career of it. And
Right.
she told me, well, you're an actor, right? And I was
Right.
like, I'd like to be. And she's like, no,
Right.
I've seen what you do. You're an actor.
Right.
And I'm like,
Right.
okay, sure.
Yeah.
So since then, that kind of just stuck in my brain, and I'm like, all right, I guess. And I've done some acting stuff since, nothing like major, but
Right.
mostly for myself or for like classes, and
Mm-hmm.
so I really want to make that more of a thing as well.
Mm-hmm.
But that can be scary. That's got to be the scariest thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
That and comedy, you do comedy. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
going up on stage and like just potentially bombing,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the bravest thing
Yeah.
anybody can do.
No, I
I
don't bomb.
yeah, no, but like risking it
Of course,
is
I used
terrible.
to initially bomb as well. I was a serial bomber, but that's the beautiful aspect of it is that I've been a musician all my life,
Cool.
and film was always part of my life. The first thing I used to do was get up in the morning and see the newspaper of what the movies are on.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh my
yeah,
God, I forgot
yeah.
that was a thing. Like Cinemark ads.
Yeah,
Like I
that's right.
forgot about that. Oh
That's
my
right.
God.
Yeah, that was the
That's
first thing I used to, feel fascinated. But over the course of time, and of course, I did my NIFA thing almost 10 years ago, and since then, the cinema has transformed a lot, and
yeah. Oh my God.
everything has gone video on demand, and I've been into documentaries for a while, and still love documentaries, but my fascination has moved towards podcasts and long form reality based stuff like body cam footage and stuff like
Yeah. Yeah. Like
yeah, so stuff like that. But what I'm trying to say is that film has always been a larger than life aspect of art, and cinema has always been the greatest level of expression because it's a collaborative art and you can't do it alone.
yes.
Yeah, but I totally agree with her because you have that David Bowie aura to you.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
He's a big influence for that for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Yes.
It's like, well, you can do it all. I can do it all too.
Yeah,
Screw it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And also, the song that you did at Nomadic Post, I told you, no, it sounds like
Oh yeah.
a
Yeah.
Bowie song. So,
Yeah.
in a good way, in a good way. So, and you have that quirkiness about you like Bowie also had. It's very easy to transform that into film because essentially when you go too much into method acting, it becomes too woody and artificial. But it's
Yeah.
basically using actors. Me as a filmmaker, I can tell you that for me, actors are part of prop,
Mm.
and certain images, certain looks, or certain figures, help so much in storytelling you know so if I have a certain character which I have in my mind, if I find someone who looks like that, it does half of my job. It is less hard for me
Oh,
to
100%.
dramatize it, yeah, or even program that actor, so to say, or direct the actor. So you have that kind of element which can transcend easily, for certain specific roles. Of course, being a musician yourself, and of course, musicians have a long history of because initially singers used to be actors because they could sing,
Yeah. Right.
in early cinema, and actors who could sing were the only one who were cast. So music was the essential element of it, and it still is because if you look at movies like Rocky 4 or or Titanic, or Mission Impossible. So music is still an integral element of a
Oh,
very big hit,
100%.
yeah, a franchise or
Absolutely.
whatever. And for example, themes like Superman and themes like which are ingrained in our in human psyche forever, or Star Wars is it brings together the elements of film and music, and so I definitely. I know, of course, down the road, now film is much more guerrilla style, guerrilla filmmaking style, and now we
Well,
don't
yeah,
have.
I mean, it sucks because, like, I love the old stuff. Like, my favorite era of Hollywood was the 40s. That's like the kind of movies I want to make, where it's
Citizen
very,
Kane.
yeah. Oh my
Yeah,
God, yeah,
yeah,
exactly. I
yeah,
love Orson Welles is one of my
yeah,
biggest heroes.
yeah.
Like, stage inspired, but
Mhm.
using the camera to effectively turn it into something new, and
Right,
exciting.
right.
But I hate movies now. Not totally, but I hate the industry now.
Right.
I hate the way, like, Marvel has changed everything. I
Mhm.
cannot stand streaming services. They're a
Right,
blight on consumer,
right, right,
rights and
right,
privileges, and
right.
no, and just like there are a dearth of creativity, and there's just a dearth of creativity now, and
Right,
it's infuriating because, like, all the cool stuff
right,
isn't getting money.
right,
We need another, like, '90s revolution with,
right,
like, Slacker and
right.
even like Clerks and stuff like that. I think
Yes, I
that
was.
needs to happen, but it's like they're trying to make it not. They're trying to not allow that to happen again,
Right,
which is infuriating because,
right,
like, that's what we need
right,
to revitalize
right.
movies. But that's why I want to get into it and try to help,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I want to bring back, great storytelling and great acting.
Yes.
I feel like we don't have a single good movie star right now,
That's right.
even though everybody's trying to make people happen. Like, Timothy Chalamet is one of the most uninteresting
Yes,
people I've ever
yes,
seen.
that's right.
He is not formidable actor in any sense of
Right,
the word.
right.
He's just not interesting. And,
Yes,
like,
yes,
I mean,
yes.
On the Waterfront's one of my favorite movies of all time. And
Mm.
every time I see Marlon Brando in that, I'm like, how does he do that?
Yes,
Like,
that's crazy.
it's impossible. Like, how does he exist?
Well,
And I know there's people out there that can do that,
yes.
but for some reason aren't getting the opportunity because they're not meeting, because the industry doesn't want them,
Right. Yeah.
and so it's like it's frustrating.
Yeah. I mean, the way I look at it is that the sooner you accept the circumstances or the new model, it's good for you,
Yeah,
because it is dependent on creatives like you to make groundbreaking changes. I say this because people like Mr. Beast have transcended the boundaries of TV and film and entertainment in general. But production is one part of it, uh, for which I am, because I have also accepted it. I was making a film, horror, back in 2019, and then the COVID came, and then everything fizzled out.
yep,
So I had shot almost 50% of the movie as well. But what I'm trying to say is that the game has redefined, but in terms of business and in terms of exposure. But like you said it right yourself, slackers or clerks, and girlfriend effect, and movies like that, they are going to they did in 90s as well, and people like you and Delapas, who are like beyond, you are like, you guys are like characters, you are like personas, you are like artists as well. So your basic craft is intact, and then you have accessed your senses in terms of creativity, so it's much easier for you. And with the given advances in technology and cost friendliness, you have a lot of room to shock the world with your own originality. And because even Tarantino is has lost hope, and he is
yeah,
like,
right.
yeah, he's like saying, because the games have changed, the nobody's going to theaters, and why would they? Because they have all the everything on their cable, on these apps. So again, the idea is to mesmerize the audience. And you, like, for example, you find your way in your songwriting and your melodies and compositions and groove and rhythm, that how to connect with people, how to touch people. So likewise, you can do the same thing in film as well. come up with out of the box idea, unpredictable, because that's the beauty of film and music as well, that you find a sweet spot, a midpoint between, what is predictable and what is not predictable. Because if it's too predictable, it becomes too commercial and sell off. And if you are too unpredictable, it becomes too abstract.
Yeah.
And the good thing is that YouTube has given everybody a platform. I think it's very underrated. Much like you mentioned Smashing Pumpkins, they are extremely underrated. I never admired them much, but lately the influence that they have had since the last 30 years is growing. And
Oh,
I hear about,
100%.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I hear
They've maintained their popularity
yeah,
with
and it
like
has grown. It
especially.
has
Yeah.
grown because for example, my go-to band was always Guns N' Roses, and
Hmm.
Led Zeppelin, and Doors, and Deep Purple, and and they have, of course, been remained highly influential, but and like, for example, System of a Down and Raging is the Machine and Limp Bizkit, and new metal thing since
Right.
around 1999. So but what I'm trying to say is that it's up to you guys, to because you guys have 4K 8K cameras in your cell phones, and point and shoot, and then DSLRs, and then you can utilize, because you are standing at the door of creativity, and you can move and shake things, as long as you don't get despondent with the state of affairs. And of course, technology always follows the trend. And but again, the way I see it in your music, that anybody can make an AI song, but anybody cannot make the kind of stuff that you are doing, because it is dear to you, it's close to you, and then you share it with the world, and then people are connecting to it,
Hopefully, yeah.
and yeah, and they share the same passion and energy when you perform on the stage. I see people responding to it, and going crazy, because it's risky, and it is very not only that act is risky, but to make it plausible, and to make it understandable, and to make it relatable, that's the biggest challenge, and you're doing it, and so I think you can do it in film as well.
Thank you for saying that. Like, I agree. I think it's funny because I have so many doubts when I go up there because it's like, I grew up the outcast.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, my whole thing is even if people don't like what I'm doing, well, I think it's fun and it's cool. But that only, you can only stretch that so long. So meeting like De La Paz and my friends,
Mm-hmm.
especially him, particularly him,
Mm-hmm.
he has been my number one fan since day one.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
so every time I'm up there, I'm like, well, even if nobody here is enjoying what I'm doing, this guy
Yes,
does.
because
He loves
he is a force within himself as well.
Yeah, oh, of course,
He's
yeah, no,
he
exactly. And that's he feels that way with me. He's like, if
yes,
nobody else in this crowd, at least Jeb is here and he likes
right,
what I'm doing,
yes,
and it's true. So it's like we support each other in that way. But
yeah,
it's funny you were talking about the balance between too commercial and too uncommercial,
yeah,
and that is exactly my lane. I fit in. I do things a little differently, but I still love doing pop
yes,
overall.
yes, yes,
I experiment a lot with like my sound and like my influences and genres and what have you. But I really like perform. It's just luck on my part because I like performing not formulaic stuff, but stuff that is clearly defined, can be defined as like pop music. It's why I love Kanye West. It's why I love Smashing Pumpkins. They're
mm-hmm.
doing things a little weird, but it's still very much. This has a structure to it that like maybe not on the radio,
Yeah.
God forbid, but something
No,
that
but
will be successful.
no, but I think without glazing, I would say that it's the need of our times.
Yeah,
The
I
kind of
agree.
stuff that you are doing, it has to be mainstream, especially when you call it as pop. Uh, this is what should be there, and people, and even I mean, a lot of money can be made in what you're doing, you know. And a promoter or
Marketplace.
an or a label should pick you up from LA, and but again, the streaming platforms have become hogs in a way that
Yeah.
the entire money is being made by these Spotify's and Apple Musics, and they
Yeah, man,
try
it's
to.
disheartening. It's
Yeah.
like, what can I trust? Who can I trust? You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, the way you are moving on is great, and soon you'll be doing festivals. And I mean, again, it's only a matter of time as long as you don't lose the momentum, because
Yeah, I
yeah,
agree.
yeah, because if you list, for example, let's say talk about another contemporary. I have another friend. His name is Zand from New York. Amazing musician, amazing singer, and like a package like you, and he makes weekend looks weekend, and he's funk, but he's so good, and I'm gonna share his link with you.
Yeah, I was
And
gonna say, send that over to me. I'd love to hear that.
yeah, yeah, another friend of mine, Jahir, is also into hip hop and amazing. Like you don't have time to think about it because music used to be magic. You go
Yeah,
crazy when it hits you because it's metaphysics, and these are frequencies we are talking about. So
yeah,
yeah, so from even from the business perspective, that for example Taylor Swift again came in late 2000s, and she's huge now. So because she kept on doing her thing and talking to her audience. So if you just keep on doing your thing, and she was also coming from Nashville, from South. So for example, Charlie Puth, his music is good, but again there is so much you can do, and before it sounds repetitive. And
yeah,
with you and Delapaz both, you have so many production ideas, not only in terms of music and then in performance as well, and then dynamics, as in he's doing his live recording and MIDI
yeah,
and
100%. Yeah,
sampling. So these are things that people want to see, because again the rules have been redefined, and
mhm.
your competition is not other musicians. Your competition is social media, your competition is porn, your competition is a million other things that people can do, which were not there when it was in 70s or 80s or 60s or 90s. And
Absolutely.
there were only VHS or DVDs, and a bunch of cable channels or satellite channels. So yeah, I mean, I think, like I say again, without sounding too flattering, the music scene needs people like you, because you are doing everything right, and you are presenting it right, and again, there is a stream of money going on and revenue flowing, and somebody has to pick you up. And again, you can't organize your own shows, call your the people and market yourself. You are just into creative aspect of it, and you are doing it perfectly well, which itself requires a lot of scrutiny. In the sense, for example, when I said the team of Quincy Jones and Michael Jackson, without Quincy, you can see Michael Jackson's stuff is zero. And
100%.
yeah, and without Michael, Quincy Jones worked with various artists, and they were good, of course, because he's Quincy Jones and is working from Sinatra till he died. But again, you need a chemistry and a partnership. But for example, even in Beatles, like John and
Yeah, yeah.
Paul.
Paul.
So yeah, so but you're doing it alone, and you're doing it so well. Maybe I think your parents should get the credit of being your partner and providing you that, the launch pad or the perfect environment where you can do your own thing, explore it without any usual life pressures, like 9 to 5 job, and other things
Yeah,
that expected from a young man such as you. So I think you're doing it all great, and you just keep on keeping on. And I think it's only a matter of time, because I think the level of art which you are producing is hard to tie down, and soon it's going to get its own following. And I hope it should be everywhere, because if that's not everywhere, then the recycled trash is there, and we think that is radio. No, the radio was never like that. Radio was, used to have art into it and magic. Music used to be
Yeah,
magic, and still can be.
beautiful.
So yeah, I mean, tell me if you have any, ending message or anything, upcoming attraction that you want to share.
Well, thanks for the flattery. Again, like it
It's
means
my
no.
pleasure. It's an honor for me. I mean, I say it because one time there was this trans comedian. She told me that I'm a weirdo. So I said, if you are telling that I am a weirdo, then it's a badge of honor for me. So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
so
No, I always tell
so
people
same
like
as in
you're embarrassed.
Austin. In
No,
Austin they say keep it weird. So probably the reason I liked Austin and Austin liked me was that because we both are weird, and so are you.
100%. No, when I people have told me that I'm intimidating sometimes, and I'm like,
That's the
God, I'm
best
a
part.
dork.
That's
Like,
the
come
best
on, what are
part.
you talking about?
Those part of that's for the weaklings, because
Yeah,
they you can never make them happy because you project beyond their expectations, and that's what pisses them off.
yeah. Well, so thank you because the positive feedback, like I said, is helpful to me to keep going. Like I need to hear it, otherwise, I think everybody actually hates me and I'm cringe.
No.
So hearing good things is good.
Yeah.
But that being said, I do have stuff. Um, I'm working on my debut album. It's
Mhm.
called Wannabe. I have it more than half of it finished, production wise and writing wise. That is going to be coming out hopefully July, which is exciting because then me and my friend Michael Payton,
Mhm.
who is a brilliant filmmaker
Mhm.
and music video maker,
Mhm.
so I'm shouting him out because if you need like genuinely great, like I knew his work before I was friends with him. He's
Mhm.
incredible.
Mhm.
If you need like a good music video
Mhm.
made, he hit him up. He's incredible,
Okay,
Michael
sure.
Payton.
Okay.
But him and I are going to work on making my album into a visual album,
Mhm.
which I'm hoping to debut in a theater.
Oh
So like
wow,
a song for, yeah,
that's what I'm
song
talking
for
about.
every
It's got
a
to be
video for
ambitious.
every
Yes.
song.
Yes.
Yeah, with narrative flowing through it, which is very
Wow.
exciting. Because I was like, you know what? If you told me like a year ago, if I was like, oh, that'd be cool to do. I was talking with De La Paz about this. It's like a year ago we come up with an idea that like that, and it's like, oh, that'd be cool to do someday. It's like, no, just do it now. I
Yes.
can. I have
Yes.
the opportunity.
Yes.
Let's fucking go big
Yes.
or go home.
Yeah.
So we're gonna make that happen.
Yes.
Which I'm excited
Yeah, I
for.
mean that's what I'm talking about because the problem is that everything is has become so sissy these days, so
Yeah,
diluted that
yeah.
people want some daring attempts such as that.
Yeah, I
And
agree. I
yeah,
think people like I've been telling people like a visual album, and they're like, "Oh, that's cool," because
yeah,
like no one I know is doing that,
right,
and I'm like, "That's a big deal," and that
right,
means I really think highly of this work that I'm working on because
right.
I do. I think
Yeah.
every song is going to be maybe not a hit, but like is going to be memorable, and
Mhm.
everyone's gonna. I keep thinking in my head like everyone's gonna have a different favorite song from this album, which
Mhm.
excites me
Mhm.
personally.
Mhm.
So, and whether or not everyone even listens to it, I don't care. It'll be amazing to get it done.
Well, the thing is, the reason Pink Floyd was a hit in back in the day because they had 10-minute songs and it was a concept album, you know. And
Absolutely. Yep.
in those days, nobody expected that, that concept. What the fuck is a concept album?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
likewise, your favorite, Smashing Pumpkins when they came up with the chorus line, they said, "What the fuck is this? No, your chorus. This can't be the chorus." They said, "No, this is the chorus." And that's what made them famous,
Yeah.
because it was out of the box and it was daring. And like for example, the 360 degrees stage that U2 came up with back in the day,
Oh
and
yeah.
yeah,
Right.
so those are like you're emotionally and actually financially investing yourself and your time into it, and presenting something like that, so people admire that. And of course there are naysayers everywhere, and they don't matter as well because they have no contribution into it. So yeah, I mean, it was great talking with you, and
Yeah. You too,
it
man. Thanks
was
for having me on. This has been really cool.
yes, and it was
Always dreamed of getting interviewed.
yes, 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 and it was fun, and I think we should do it again when the Zoom will be behaving, because your creative output is always, the bandwidth is always there and streaming. So, we should do it again in the future.
Yeah. I'd love to. This was fun.
Sure. Okay.
For being one of the first ones to invite me on. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Nice talking to you, and catch you soon.
You too. I'll see you,
All right.
Atif.
All right. Bye bye. Right.
Bye.
Right.